I don't think I would like that so much. I don't think we need a new structure for children to be educated. I don't think the addition of iPads and laptops in a modern library is necessary. I kind of like where it's at, and I think if it's feasible and makes the most sense to renovate it, then we should definitely do that.
This library is great, and but a new library would be great too. I don't really have a preference, just as long as they continue to have a good library.
Wow, you know, I was just over there at the farmer's market, and all of my friends and my understanding, because I've only been in Santa Cruz for just a couple of years, it's like where that's held is like really central. It brings community together. So it would almost be like interrupting and breaking up the rhythm of the city for what it's known for. You know, everybody loves to go there for the farmer's market. You know. Well, and as far as the library goes, I think we should just renovate it because it's not like Santa Cruz isn't overwhelmingly large, you know, and you could have just like enough people use it so we don't need a bigger, more expanded one necessarily at the other place. We could just, you know, expand this one, and you know, I think a lot of people like Santa Cruz the way it is. I don't think we need any extra parking just because if we make it more of a walking zone, I think everybody would benefit, you know? So, yeah.
I guess I would lean more towards renovating the older building and bringing it up to date, of course, for structure-wise, but bring in some new and high-tech equipment. You know, it's a library for doing research and learning about, you know, today's world and things out there. And I think if we had better equipment to do that it would be more widely used rather than just the same people who come down here, you know, to maybe just plug in their laptops or charge their phones. You know, you got to have the laws of attraction. So if you had the right tools in here, I believe you get the right people who come in to utilize it.
If the library and the parking garage would have more modern equipment because it'd be newer, would you prefer that, or would you still want to renovate this one?
No, because Santa Cruz has a mentality of they're very proud of the localness, you know, and the quaintness and their weirdness, if you will, and it's like modernizing it on the inside is like just keeping up with the times. But a big old modern building somewhere else, I don't think would, for my taste, would suit me in Santa Cruz. I like the old with an upgrade, new hairdo, you know what I mean, so to speak.
The four proposals that were presented to the study committee weren't comprehensive. They were already narrow. There's a parking lot right next door to this library. There's no reason why we couldn't build something brand new and modern, attach it to this library, and we have state-of-the-art new. We renovate this. We don't move. That wasn't even on the table. There's another parking lot across the street. It's even possible to close this street for cars. There's other ways to access this block and use all this space to make state-of-the-art. It's absolutely correct that a brand new library would be gorgeous, but at the expense of more cars and more parking and all the things that we really don't want in town. I don't think that makes sense.
Thank you. My name is Susan Nemitz. I'm the director of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries. I'm so excited. I have Sooner students. Yeah. I think this is a wonderful exercise. I think I believe libraries are sort of the lifeblood of the community. I also believe that the community needs to participate completely in what a library is and what it does. And so I love the input. I think this is a wonderful thing to be doing.
I would say, if it's up to me, I'd say expand this. This is probably good enough as it is, maybe a little remodeling, maybe a second floor, but there's the antique fair and the farmer's market. I say leave that the way it is. That would be my vote.
I like the idea of renovating this current library. I think it's a good spot.
I wish there were other options more than those two. I feel like the library does need a renovation. It's great, but it's dated, and it needs to be bigger, and it always seems really full when I'm here. I literally just moved here 3 weeks ago, and I've been here probably twice a week, and it's busy every time I come. That said, I don't love the idea of a library in a parking garage. Maybe if I saw the plans, I'd be more persuaded. But I'm concerned that what will happen is that more emphasis will go on the parking garage than on the library, and that's the exact wrong way to approach it.
I'd rather keep the farmer's market there and renovate this library. because it sounds to me like having a library as part of a parking garage would make a lot of carbon monoxide for people to breathe, and it doesn't sound like a very good idea. And I like the farmers market because it encourages local agriculture. So that's my vote.
I would prefer this be renovated rather than building a new one. And I think you can make this itself a modern one. I don't see why a new building has to be done to make it modern.
I would much rather have this renovated than move the location. I think it's a great location, and I think there's a lot of folks who walk here and probably would not want to be taking their kids where there's a lot of cars being parked and such. So yeah, I think this location is great, and renovating it here would be amazing.
These two different proposals.
They both. There's problems with both. I think though we need a new library, and I think we have to build a new one because if we renovate this one will be closed. So
It'll be closed while we're renovating it.
exactly
Right.
So there'll be no library downtown.
Right.
I don't know if we need more parking. That's like a story that keeps developing. But it'll be a brand new library, so that's what I'm thinking.
I think that we should keep the library here because if we make the library there, if we change the library to the other spot where the farmers market is, it'll take longer for them to build it, and people really need this library to like check out books, maybe for school purposes. If you have a project and you need to use a book on it, then this is where you can come to do it.
Well, I think they might leave this library here while they built the other one. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, otherwise, I think I'd like this library here.
Well, I think they both sound very intriguing, and I would need to know more information about what renovation would cost and what that would entail, and whether that would save money or whether it would actually cost more money being an older building. Of course, parking is at a premium here in downtown Santa Cruz, so that idea sounds intriguing as well. So without enough information, I just wouldn't be able to answer, but they both, I mean, I would like to see the library survive, so.
I think that the new...
I'm not informed enough on either of the two proposals to be able to make a full opinion. I know we need more parking downtown, because parking is kind of hectic, but I also have I believe in like the reduce, reuse, recycle thing, so if we can reuse the old building, why tear down a new one, or build a new one? What do you think?
I agree with you.
Living in Santa Cruz and experiencing this wonderful culture, I like the historic buildings of Santa Cruz and would like to see that. However, with the great influx of people coming into this area because of Google and everybody, we need parking. So, but however, I would like to say this, that cars are changing. Look at all the little jumps and all the little alternative vehicles, including the G that's going to be driving itself and getting the monkeys out from behind the wheel finally, so that we are no longer killing 40,000 people a year with cars. So I'm not certain, I think in light of all of that, I believe the building should be renovated here, and parking will sort out itself. We'll see how well the gentrification of this great city goes. And maybe parking, they can solve the parking.
I'd say I would rather see them tear it down.
Great, and have a new library.
A new library, a new
Okay.
modern library.
Great.
I don't like the idea at all of moving it and having it combined with a parking garage and all that. I love this location. I like the library. It is so easy to just drive up, park, walk in. It's very friendly and open and easy. It's just a wonderful downtown library.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it'd be nice to have a new library. Be good.
Great.
More parking.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think between the two proposals, one being the renovation, the other being at the site where the farmers market is under a parking garage, I'd probably favor the renovation option, or tearing down the current building and constructing a new library in place of the current library, but in the same footprint or a similar footprint, that would probably be my preference, just because I like the farmers market's current location, and I don't love the idea of a library underneath the parking garage. So I'd be open to other proposals, but that particular proposal I'm not in favor of.
I would rather renovate the old library. I just like this location. I like the farmers market being where it is, and I think we should save what we have.
I think that the town of Santa Cruz is proud of their city, and one way of doing it is making sure they have the best library they can. And I think the people who work at the library are the best ones to judge which one to choose. Either renovate the old one or get one in the old garage.
No, they would build a new parking garage, and the library would be part of it. So it'd be a multi-story parking garage. The library would be at the first story, and then there'd be car parking around it.
Yes. Well, I am new here in town, so I don't feel that I have much information. But I think the staff who works here, as I was telling her before, that I'm new here, and I was very unhappy until I came to the library.
Great.
Because I was new and I didn't know many people, and they are so friendly here and so patient, so respectful, humorous, knowledgeable, that they made me decide to stay.
Great.
And so I think they're the best ones to know what the best
Cool, let the
thing to do
professionals
is.
decide, huh?
Yes.
I'd rather just renovate what's here because I already have to dodge cars to get here on foot. And we'd have a parking lot. How are you going to have any peace and quiet in the library if there's a parking lot on top of it?
Well, I think that they definitely have some soundproofing or some sort of soundproof measures that would at least muffle the sound. If that changes your opinion.
Still a dumb idea. Still a dumb idea. It's a library.
Well, my first thought is that, my first honest thought is I would never move a library because, I mean, this is like, it's not like a new city. This is like a pretty old city. And I would want all of its people, regardless of their age, to know where the library is and become So I'd probably like it remodeled.
Okay.
Or knocked down and completely renovated, but not with a parking garage. Libraries and parking should not be connected for like the city. I mean, if it's parking for the library only, that's like one thing. But
Super, thanks.
yeah, and I'd love, wait, I do have something in city council. The children's department, go look at Scotts Valley's library. Now that's a library. This library should look more like that. It's a great community center. It's got a great place to encourage kids to read.
Yep.
Right now, when you walk up upstairs, the first thing you see is computers. You're not going to get kids reading books when they look at computers first.
Right.
You need to get them interested in books, and that's what I think that the Scotts Valley does, is like really incorporate the space with the library. Same with the live oak, but this one's important. It's the first library downtown.
Right.
Well, I think the library that we have is fine. It, you know, renovation, I don't know, the building looks pretty good to me. Okay, put some new windows, floor coverings, new modern high-tech computer system. You know, if it isn't big enough, I think it's big enough. I mean, what for more homeless people to hang out all day? I mean, how much space do you really need? I mean, it's enough. And then you could, you know, do a second story if you really wanted more space. And it's just a super good location. It's right heart of downtown. And so $23 million, I mean, they find the greatest ways to waste money. It's crazy. 23 million. I mean, you're going to edit this anyway, right? Yeah, I mean, $23 million, you'd be able to fix this thing for $5-6 million.
Thanks.
The one thing, I'm happy if it's rebuilt, but I'm totally against having a parking garage above the level. You know, I don't want to go down into a mausoleum, you know, to read books. So if there's going to be any kind of parking garage, it needs to be subterranean.
I'm absolutely 100% against a parking structure with the library on the bottom. It doesn't make sense at all. I mean, at least the library should be on top. It just doesn't make sense. This is a fine building. It's lovely. You could renovate it. I want it to be here, and I want it to just be simple and wonderful.
Would it change your opinion if you heard that $23 million would not be enough to adequately renovate the current library and they might need more money?
23 million would be enough, but if you needed more money, you could ask for it.
Why don't we ask her?
And I am 100% against any kind of parking structure.
Yeah.
It's going the wrong way, folks. It's just going the wrong direction. Cars are bad. Libraries are good. So yeah, $23 million, that'd be a lot of renovation. I like this library. If you want to come up with a nice plan to build a new library without a parking lot somewhere, without a parking ramp, that's fine too.
I think it would be excellent if they renovated the library that we have currently. I think that it's probably still a very structurally sound building, and I do think though we need to consider where we're going to put more parking, but not necessarily where the farmers market is, because I don't think we need to build a brand new library.
Thank you.
Concerned.
Concerned, you said.
Yeah. Concerned that that new structure will cost more money than they're expecting. Frustrated that this building can't be repurposed.
Hold on a second. Concerned that the new structure would cost more money than they're anticipating, and frustrated with the idea that this building couldn't be restructured and reused.
And also frustrated that the University of Santa Cruz hasn't been more part of this process of having information in our community.
He also said he's frustrated that the University of Santa Cruz hasn't played a bigger part in providing information to our community about this process.
And library services, information services.
And not enough information from library services and information services.
I think my opinion would just be either way, it would be great to get an upgrade for the library, especially if there's more services, maybe more kid and youth section, that type of thing, maybe a multimedia kind of place. And so I feel like it might be, it's hard for me to say which one would be better just because this might take more money to renovate, whereas a new building might be the same. And especially if we're not going to lose parking or maybe gain parking, then it would be kind of a win as well.
Well,
but then where does the farmer's market go?
How about you, sir? Do you agree with your family member here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like the building of developing that area down there. I really like the way it is down there, and I really hate all the changes. I like the library, and I like where it is. I like that it's accessible to everybody, and it's walking distance to a lot of people. And to expand on it would be my first option.
All right. So, how do you use the downtown library?
I come to talks here every month or two. For example, tonight the Museum of Discovery is putting on a talk about migratory birds in collaboration with the library. And
great. All right. So, how do you use the downtown library?
I come to talks here every month or two. For example, tonight the Museum of Discovery is putting on a talk about migratory birds in collaboration with the library. And
great.
Very wonderful community resource.
Great.
That way.
I don't know if you're aware, but the city currently has more than $23 million from Measure S, which is a property tax increase, to improve the downtown library. So we can either renovate the current building, or we can tear it down and build a new, more modern library as part of a parking garage, which would be where the farmers market currently is. How do you feel about these options?
I have read a lot about that, pros and cons, and I'm fully in favor of renovating this building. I know there's a lot of vision about how great it could be, and I fully support this renovation. And I'm not at all fond of the idea of building a parking structure when we need to get away from encouraging personal car use.
I
I don't really like it because I like this library. I like the elevator, even though every time you go in it, it sounds like you're gonna die.
Okay.
Every time. I love it though.
But what if?
Those are the two options. I'd rather them renovate here and update this building.
I favor renovating the existing library. I'm concerned about the parking garage actually. I think our society places too much emphasis on automobiles. And I think we need to move toward different kinds of transportations and find other solutions instead of building large parking garages in the middle of downtown.
Okay.
Keep the library.
Well, I definitely think that they should just renovate the current library because I just feel like if it was part of a parking garage and there's a parking garage surrounding it, I feel like me walking into the library and riding my bike there, I don't feel like it would be as safe and I don't feel like the environment would be as nice. And it would also be really bad for the environment because we'd be tearing down a whole building and then building a new one and building a parking garage. And then also I feel like when Measure S came out, people didn't know that they were going to build a new library, and especially not one part of a parking garage. They thought they were just going to renovate that. So I think that that's still what we should do. And I think that even though the other library would be more modern and a little bigger, this library, we could still make it really nice with that amount of money.